Welcome back to Running Sports, everybody. Hope you have an amazing day. I'm here to give you guys my Monday Night Raw review for May 11th, 2026. Before we get into the review, guys, please hit that thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for more great content headed your way. My honest opinion about tonight's show is that it was very, very boring. Not a lot of storyline. It was a lot of matches, good matches here and there, but outside of the main event time slot, the storylines for these shows is not good at all. They don't know how to write anything. I've been saying it for weeks and weeks at a time. These shows are absolutely horrible because of the storylines. Now, we came off a Backlash that I gave a C+, because there was no expectation for that show, and they kind of did well. Tonight's Monday Night Raw, on the other hand, was a complete 360 from what Backlash was. There's too many ads in this show. Unlike Backlash, no pyro to open the show. The same opening we get every single week that I complain about all the time. It's the same show every single week, and it's obviously, as a wrestling fan, as a person who loves professional wrestling, this is becoming very, very annoying. And it's draining at certain points because of how horrible these shows are. The same stuff every single week that we get. I don't know what this company's going to do when Roman Reigns and CM Punk and maybe even Seth Rollins is gone if they don't know how to write for these guys in this new generation. They don't know how to do a damn thing. They don't have a clue on what to write for, how to book the shows, and what they're doing. They have no good writers back there. They have no bookers, nothing. This show is horrible every single week. And as somebody who, again, I repeat myself again, who loves professional wrestling, this is very, very annoying. It's truly, truly annoying. And it's exhausting having to defend professional wrestling towards people who don't like it or whatever the case may be. They may say, how could you watch wrestling and blah, 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 and all this stupid stuff that they say. It's hard to defend wrestling when people are mad that wrestling is on ESPN, even though nobody ESPN watches professional wrestling, but for some reason they're all over ESPN when ESPN doesn't care about wrestling. TKO, who owns WWE, doesn't care about professional wrestling. It just seems like professional wrestling is in a soulless period. Anyway, this show is live from Knoxville, Tennessee. The crowd was okay tonight. The opening on this show was Michael Cole and Corey Graves greet the audience from after playing the videos back from Backlash. We see Roman Reigns demand his World Championship. He pulls up in the car, demands his title. He's talking to Adam Pearce, says that he'll be able to take out Fatu because he brought him to the B. And then after that, he heads to the dressing room. So they have a brief conversation backstage with Roman Reigns walking off, going to the dressing room after saying that he doesn't want Adam Pearce to fire Jacob Fatu. He'll do it himself if he doesn't acknowledge him. We're back at ringside. The Vision makes their way out to the ring. Paul Heyman does his usually the same shtick that he does every single week and is talking about Bron Breaker and he beat Seth Rollins. The same thing that Paul Heyman always does. It's nauseating now. We've seen it for almost a decade with Brock Lesnar. We've seen it do it with Roman Reigns. He did it with Seth Rollins. Now he's doing it with this iteration of the Vision. Who honestly cares? I don't care about this. This is the same thing every single week. I'm not going to waste my breath and talk about Paul Heyman doing the same shtick every single week. He then gives the microphone to the person who has no charisma, in Austin Theory. He addresses the Street Profits and Hendry propped in Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins to make their way to the ring. He says that Bianca Belair can no longer pay the bills. That's why Montez Ford is back. And then Montez Ford comes out there and says, yeah, she's having a baby, but I just came here to kick your ass. And people thought that was funny. Haha. No, it's not funny when you have somebody telling you that your wife can no longer pay the bills and that your wife's better than you, so that you come out there and say, she's having a baby, then I'm going to kick your ass. So he's digging at you in your personal life, and I'm talking about just storyline here wise. He's digging at you in your personal life, but then the first thing you say is, yeah, she's having a baby, but I'm going to beat you up. Whoever wrote that response to him, that was not a good comeback at all. He then says the Street Profits came to Raw for the Raw Tag Team titles and they want to smoke. But Paul says fans have to find out the Street Profits are old news and says the irrelevant thing that Ford has done is thrown Bianca Belair a baby shower. He then says the Vision is born ready, but Hendry cuts him off and is singing his song about firing Logan Paul. I might be in the minority here. I don't care about Joe Hendry. He's on the main roster, continuously doing the same singing, playing the guitar, whatever he is playing. It's the same thing every single week with this dude. And I said it last week. If you have Joe Hendry come out there and do concerts and play the guitar every single week, it's going to get old. They didn't even give us any vignettes of Joe Hendry, and they just put him on Monday Night Raw. The same thing with Ethan Paige. It's the same thing. They do it every single call-up that they've been doing. No video packages. They want surprises, but these guys aren't worthy of surprises. These guys are not Samoan Joe. These guys are not AJ Styles. These guys are not these guys that was on Independence for decades, and then they come on to the main roster, and we're supposed to care about them. No disrespect. I didn't care about Ethan Paige in AEW. I didn't watch him in TNA, and I didn't care about Joe Hendry in TNA. I didn't care about him in NXT. Who is Joe Hendry and what is he here for? What's the story behind him coming up to the main roster? Just to team up with Montez for Angelo Dawkins after they've been gone for damn near 6 months? just doesn't make any sense. Nothing makes sense on this show. We then get a predictable 6-man tag team match with the Vision versus the Street Profits and Joe Hendry. Seth Rollins comes out, interferes, and clotheslines Bron Breakker outside, and the referee sees him, doesn't disqualify. And then the winners of this match, because of the outside interference and distraction with Austin Theory, is Joe Hendry and the Street Profits. They win this match. Angelo Dawkins rolled up Austin Theory. After the match, Theory rains down right hands on Dawkins. Rollins dumps Theory over the ring rope, over the top rope, and helps Dawkins up. After that, Bron Breakker comes in, Seth Rollins moves, and he gets speared. After that, Montez comes in and gets in Seth Rollins' face, and they're pushing each other inside the ring. Was I impressed by this? No, I didn't care not one bit. Who cares about any of this? What's the story behind the Street Profits coming back to Monday Night Raw? And by the way, that same thing that Austin Theory just said, somebody put that online. He got that from online because, Bianca Belair is having a baby. Somebody said that online as soon as they came back. That's an old thing to say. And you got it from being on social media. Let's call it what it is. It was on social media because I saw it first on social media before he says it now. There was no point of having this match on television if you're going to have interference again and then you have got to get rolled up. Your World Tag Team Champion is going to get rolled up. And then you wonder why guys in this era can't get over besides Femi because he's just a huge star. You got Javon Evans, who I really like a lot, going around just saying bouncy all the time. You got Penta just saying settle miedo, and there's no storyline with him. Ethan Page debuted on the main roster, and I don't even care about him. And Rusev, who cares? All of this show is a big-ass who cares about anything that they're performing because they're not giving us story. We head backstage when the LG Original, Grande Americano, and Bruno and Julio, who cares about this? They're with Adam Pearce, and Dominic Mysterio and Liv Morgan interrupt, leading to Pearce saying that Dominic will defend his AAA Mega Championship against the original Grande Americano. Why? Why are we getting this match? For what? An impromptu title match for what? Why are we getting this? Because he interrupted. The booking on this show is horrendous. Why are you just throwing together a match? Because somebody interrupted you backstage. What's the story behind Dominic Mysterio getting his IC title back? Liv Morgan says he needs a championship opportunity, so you put him in a championship match on a championship that doesn't even deserve to be on this show. We already have enough championships on the show that are not being defended or not being used or the division's not being used, and yet you want to put the AAA championship on a lot of Corey Graves on commentary. Oh my goodness, it's the AAA Mega. I don't care about that. I don't care about AAA. I don't care about AAA. After they get done with this stupid backstage segment, Los Garzas approach Adam Pearce looking for an opportunity outside of SmackDown. This is the dumbest thing that I've seen all week. You have the Los Garzas come and say they want an opportunity outside of SmackDown. So they come to Monday Night Raw. Now, them being there was set up for something that later happens on the show. But you have these guys come into here to say they want a better opportunity outside of SmackDown, when SmackDown's tag team division is horrible. So that means that you are so bad that you have to come to Monday Night Raw because you can't hack it on a terrible SmackDown. Who thought about this? And I know why they did it. We're going to get to why they did this. But before we actually get to why they did this, it made no sense. We're back at ringside. Penta makes his way out. And this is where I kind of just roll my eyes because I'm in the minority here. I like Penta a lot. The Lucha Brothers in AEW were fantastic. They came to the B. His brother has done nothing in the company. And they have Penta being IC champion. And he just says, Cero Miedo, and that's it. Which means no fear. And then after that, he does nothing. So he basically says he heard Ethan Page talk about his Intercontinental Championship last week. Then he says he's a fighting champion and calls out Paige to say what he needs to say to his face. And I'm not going to lie to you. When this promo came on, the first thing I did was grab my TV remote and I muted it because I don't care. Ethan Page's music then hits. He walks out to the ring. Paige says Penta decided to paint his face for 30 minutes, decided to hide his identity. Unlike Penta didn't introduce himself and express his pride in coming from Canada. He reminds Penta that he pinned him in their tag team match last Monday. Then says in his mind that makes him no more contender for the IC title, but he thinks Penta might be afraid to defend the title against him. Whoever wrote this are idiots. Why would Penta be afraid, realistically, to face Ethan Page when he's faced better in the ring than Ethan Page? Seriously. Penta then goes on to say he's not afraid, but then dares Page to challenge him for the IC title right now. But Page stops Penta and says he's not ready to fight. So I hate when heels do this, personally. You're afraid to fight me, then I say I'm not afraid to fight you, but then I challenge you, then you say, well, I'm not going to do it. It's a cowardly heel move that's been done since the beginning of time, and it's terrible. It's horrible. It's horrible. Then he says he's not ready for a fight. After that, he says he's a megastar. And every megastar has held the IC title, and he clarifies that he wants the IC title at Saturday Night's main event on May 23rd. Penta accepts it like an idiot, and he always says he's ready, but Rusev music hits and he makes his way out. This is just a bunch of random guys coming out here because they want the IC title, but there's no story. Why does Rusev deserve to be out here? What's the writing? Who is writing this show? Who's writing this? And then Triple H sits there as like a bald dumbass and say, well, I approve this show. Rusev tells Paige that he amused him, but he said he doesn't sit well with him that Paige gets an IC championship match. He says he's the reason why Paige was able to pin Penta. So basically they're arguing about who wants to be IC champion to get a championship opportunity. Then after that, Javon Evans comes out. His music hits and he makes his way out. He says that Paige is lying about their meeting with Pierce, with Penta clotheslining Paige out of over the top rope, and Evans low bridging Rusev on the other side. He lands a dive to level Rusev. Adam Pierce then makes a match between Evans and Rusev official during a commercial break. Why? What for? We get Javon Evans versus Rusev. Javon Evans is the OG cutter to win this match. This show is horrible. I didn't need to see Javon Evans versus Rusev again. I did not need to see this again. You have nothing to write storyline-wise, so you just throw together matches as if that's supposed to be something. What's the point of the IC title picture right now? It's Penta, Ethan Page, Javon Evans, and Rusev. 4 random guys, except for Javon Evans, I like Javon Evans. But 4 random dudes fighting over a title. What's the storyline with the IC title? This is exactly why I said, and I'm getting heated, why I said they needed to keep the title on Dominic Mysterio and have him go against Finn Balor. Because what is Finn Balor doing now? Nothing. Finn Balor can have the title and continuously feud with the Judgment Day, and after that, then he ends it, and then he goes on to do something else. There are no storylines in this company. And then you want us to be invested, spend money, watch tickets, people got to pay their cable bills, they got to pay for the ESPN, they got to pay for Netflix, they got to pay for all this stuff just for nothing. We then head backstage again where Asuka tells Io Sky that she'd be looking for somebody to replace her. Basically, they gave each other hugs, bad acting, they gave each other hugs, and after that, Asuka walks out with her bags. She's basically, according to Sean Ross Sapp, going to Japan that he reported earlier, she's basically going back to Japan for something personal, and she's taking time off. Congratulations to her. Hopefully she'll come back. Hopefully that wasn't retirement. And says goodbye. After that, she leaves. It was a little bit cringy seeing Io Sky try to act, but nonetheless, Asuka's a class act. Everybody loves her in the company. I like Asuka a lot. She gets time off, which is well deserved. Back at ringside, Paige and Brie Bella make their way out, and all you hear is the girls in the crowd cheering for them, which is good. They still have their following in that regard. Brie says Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez called herself and Paige to the ring, then advised them both to come out to the ring. Basically in this promo exchange, Raquel Rodriguez basically said that they're basically old and washed up. And then after that, they start beating them up. And then Liv Morgan comes out there and jumps them. But then at the end of the segment, they're all holding up the championships. And then next week it's confirmed that, well, the titles will be on the line. Take the belts off of Paige and Brie Bella. Give it to Judgment Day, because that's what we know you're going to do anyway. Give it to the Judgment Day, and that's it. Brie Bella and Paige, they had the titles. You could put them on SmackDown after they lose, and then that's it. And have them help the youngins over there until Nikki Bella gets back, and then she'll continuously make her way, and then probably by next year's WrestleMania, they'll win the tag team titles together. That's the moment that they both want. That's the moment that they both need. Congratulations. They'll probably lose the titles next week, and after that, the Judgment Day will have them, and then the Judgment Day will continue to be boring as they are right now. We then get to the segment, which is my favorite segment, or second favorite segment of the night. We head backstage with Jimmy Uso and Roman Reigns that Jey Uso is waiting in the parking lot to try and talk to Jacob Fatu and talk to him out of the acknowledgement ceremony. When Reigns asks Jimmy why is Jey doing what he's doing, Jimmy says Backlash should be the end of it for Reigns and Fatu. Reigns explains to Jimmy that Fatu has to acknowledge him as a means of respect to their family, but Jimmy says he has a funny feeling about this. After that, they shake hands. He goes to go see Jey Uso. Io Sky makes her way down to the ring and Soruka follows. We basically got a random match between Io Sky and Soruka. Guess who won the match? Io Sky won the match. She was going for the Soul Snatcher, but she basically moved out of the way and got a roll-up managed to get the pin on Io Sky. Was the match good between them? Yes. Was it random? Yes. It was a random match thrown together that did not make any sense at all. What's the story behind Soruka facing Io Sky? There was no point of this. The writing on this show the entire night was horrible. There was nothing good on the show besides Jimmy Uso sitting down Roman Reigns. This show was not good at all. And people will say, oh man, we love to see Danhausen in a gingerbread funeral, but what are we doing, man? You can just tell that people backstage just have given up on the product. After that, Femi makes his way out to the ring. He says the Femi Open Challenge starts now. Then, Adam Pearce says that nobody wants to accept his challenge. So it's canceled. So he gets mad and goes backstage, and guess who he grabs backstage and beats them up? The Los Garzas. So you mad? This is what they did. This is how they think that we're stupid. They put Los Garzas in a meeting with Adam Pearce to say, hey, we want opportunities outside of SmackDown. And they're randomly sitting backstage, not in gorilla position, but outside of gorilla position, just sitting there for Femi to go and beat them up. Then he brings both of them out there. Then the referee rings the bell. It's a 2-on-1 handicap match. And the referee's like, are you sure you want to face two of them? As if he's not big enough to whoop both of their asses. Are you kidding me? He basically hits the uppercuts on both of the ropes. He basically hits a fall from grace to win the match. This was a squash match. They used one of their tag teams on SmackDown as a squash mechanism for Femi. When he was backstage, he beat them up, carried one of them, threw the other one around, and basically put them in the ring and beat them up. Congratulations, after he just retired what seemingly seems like a retirement from Brock Lesnar, you have nothing for him. And this is what you get. A guy who beat Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania within 4 or 5 minutes. And after he beats him up, he says one thing, drops the microphone, and he's off to the races, and then you make an open challenge for the guy, and you have no opponents for him, and basically making him look stupid. Who is writing this garbage? You know what you should have done? You should have had him come out there after WrestleMania, say his one-liner, the ruler, da-da-da-da, drop the microphone, and then he's off TV until you can get him a storyline. But now you're just trying to milk his aura, or whatever it is, his pops and his cheers, for what? And then after he couldn't find any challenges this week, they announced that his open challenge would be again next week. So nobody wants to challenge him this week, but we think somebody's going to want to challenge him next week. Who wrote this? This is inconsistent bullshit. Femi won. We then head backstage with Dominic Mysterio and Jamie McDonough walking. And this is another thing that whoever wrote this show deserves to be fired for. You had Dominic Mysterio and Jamie McDonough walking around backstage. They're walking basically to get to the ring. Finn Balor sneaks up on Jamie McDonough and beats him up and throws him over these crates. And Dominic Mysterio is saying, well, you're lucky I got a match. So you automatically make you look like a punk instead of fighting for your person who's supposed to have your back. You basically go out there and do your whole entire entrance with your championship. Who wrote this? Seriously. I need to know who was the head writer on SmackDown tonight. Because whoever you are, no disrespect, you're an idiot. You are a clown. And you don't care about wrestling. The guy who's supposed to be having your back and is in your group, that's been in the same group with you for years, gets beat up in front of you and you do nothing. And then they wonder why Dominic Mysterio's heat has worn down. Anyway, we get Dominic Mysterio versus the El Grande Americano. The other Americanos come out there and cost the original Grande Americano their match. Dominic hits a frog splash to OG Grande for the win. This makes absolutely no sense. There was no need for this match to take place. And by the way, after Soruka won her match, because I forgot to put this in there, Soruka, after she lost her match, Io Sky comes up and says, "You're the future!" As if somebody didn't feed her that line. "You're the future, good luck." And then she walks away, then Becky Lynch walks up to her and says, "You couldn't even beat Io Giannetti," and then walks off. This is what we get on a Monday night. People are paying money, working hard-earned jobs to pay for Netflix. Netflix is paying this company $1 billion a year, or $500 million, whatever it is a year, and they don't even care enough to have consistent writing in their storylines. And this is what you get for liking professional wrestling. Roman Reigns and Jimmy Uso make their way down to the ring. Reigns tells Knoxville, Tennessee to acknowledge him. Before he can say anything else, we see Jey Uso trying to calm down Jacob Fatu. As Fatu pulls up to the Ford City Center, Fatu ignores him the whole entire time. But before he goes out there, instead of beating him up backstage, before he gets to the ring, he punches Jey Uso basically in the chin and headbutts him, and then he's out the whole entire time. He's just knocked out. A guy who's been wrestling for over almost 20 years now gets beat up by Jacob Fatu and can't get back up and go save Roman. Throughout the entire time that they fight. They've been fighting for a long time. A little spoiler to go ahead. So he beats up Jay in the back. Then Jimmy comes with the ramp and is holding his arms out, and then he basically punches him. After that, Jacob Fatu gets up on the apron, looks at Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns winks at him, and then they start fighting. Superman punch here, punch each other in the face, hitting each other on the turnbuckles. He closes on Roman Reigns out of the ring. Roman Reigns grabs a chair and starts beating him with the chair. And the one thing that reminded me about the Roman Reigns talking about acknowledgement was when he was beating up Jey Uso like 6 years ago in 2020. Because he kept messing up. This reminded me of him when he was beating up his own cousin, Jey Uso, with the chair. This was kind of like similar to the same thing. It looked like that. So after that, he's beating up with the chair. He goes for a spear. He counters the spear. I'm like, so you just got your ass whooped with a chair. Now you're countering the spear by kicking him in the head. He then puts in a tongue and death grip. He clotheslines him outside of the ring again. They're fighting. He sends him crashing into the ring post and lands a boot on the side of Roman Reigns' head. Fatu then clears the announcers, but Roman Reigns catches Fatu with another Superman punch. Fatu responds by powerbombing Roman Reigns to the table as if we cannot get enough of the NOI family putting people through tables. They did that all 2024, 25, and they kept putting people through announce tables so bad that WWE upgraded their announce table so that nobody could basically go through them, and they're supposed to be harder to break. And now it seems like after WrestleMania 41, now we're just back to going through announce tables easily every single week. Another announce table spot when it comes to the Samoans. This is ridiculous. He puts them through the announce desk, but now the officials run out. And this one getting even more angry because the officials run out. I'm like, you let them fight the entire time, and the one time when the officials are not needed to come out, you bring them out anyway. Again. The officials come out there. Jacob Fatu is basically telling him to get off me. He's pushing Adam Pearce everywhere, which I don't understand how he wasn't fined last week for throwing him out the ring or backlash. So after that, Jacob Fatu rolls back into the ring. He licks the world title. He holds it up. He gets out of the ring. He's walking towards the back. Jimmy and Jey Uso, I don't know where they came from, they went to go check on Roman Reigns by the timekeeper area, the barricade over there. And then Jacob Fatu runs all the way around and basically splashes and breaks the barricade with all three of those guys on the barricade. And Roman Reigns is basically rolling around, holding his face because it obviously looked painful. But he smashed all three guys through the barricade. After he does all that, Jacob Fatu walks away, and that was the end of their show. This show tonight, Monday Night Raw for May 11th, was boring. This entire show. Nothing good happened. This show was an F. The show was an F. It was horrible again. They don't have any storylines. There's no storylines on the show besides Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu. Roman Reigns is carrying the company on his back again. And by the way, CM Punk, for a guy who says, I'm not going on vacation the night after WrestleMania, he's been gone since then and we haven't seen him since. So apparently you did go on vacation. And Roman Reigns alluded to that earlier, not to that point, but basically saying, hey man, our word means everything around here. And we can't say something and then it means something else. And as soon as he said that, I'm like, man, CM Punk says I'm not taking a vacation. And he's been gone for over 3, almost 4 weeks. SmackDown's horrible. Raw is horrible. The pay-per-views have been horrible, except for the Saturday Night's Main Event that took place in, I think, January or February, whichever month it was. It's been so long now, even I get confused. And Backlash was probably the best pay-per-view of the year entirely so far, and that show was a C. Well, except for the night 2 of WrestleMania, but it was just too many ads. On tonight's Raw, it was too many ads, no storyline building. You have a bunch of random guys in the IC title picture. You have Liv Morgan holding on to the Women's World Championship, and we don't know who's going to be her next challenger. Roman Reigns, Jacob Fatu was fine, but outside of that, this company has nothing. It's nothing. And just before I even go, just because you're having a feud with somebody and you're facing them on one-on-one matches doesn't make it storyline driven. It's not. This is a bunch of garbage. The writing is terrible. The presentation of WWE is terrible. The same thing we get, the same shtick every single week we get from this company. And they have no shame because they just don't care. Because you know why? TKO does not care about professional wrestling. The people back there who are writing these shows don't care. And Triple H, I know he cares, but they're even phoning it in. These shows are horrible. There has not been one good Monday Night Raw this whole entire year. And we're in May. We have Saturday Night's Main Event in 2 weeks, and then after that, in 3 weeks, we have Clash in Italy. This product that we're watching for WWE feels soulless, and at this point, there's nothing to look forward to. Nothing. SmackDown's abysmal. This show is teetering on that line of abysmal, although it's a half an hour less than SmackDown. But this show is just completely garbage. And so is SmackDown. SmackDown's 10 times worse than this, but man, they keep booking Raw like this. This is what it's going to be. Let me know in the comments down below how you guys felt about Monday Night Raw tonight. I thought it was a horrible show. They didn't do anything good outside of Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, but except for putting him in the announce table, which I'm tired of that spot. But I thought it was horrible. Let me know how you guys felt about the show. If you guys disagree with me, you thought it was a decent show, or you thought it was a great show. Put it in the comments down below, and I'll respond and give you a like or a thumbs up, and respond back to your comments. Please don't forget to hit that thumbs up, subscribe to the channel for more content headed your way, share with your friends and family so help the channel continue to grow. Until next time, guys, see you real soon.